Morning. So I've got my drawing here and I've masked out just a few little places and now I'm going to put some colour onto it. I've got natural blue, natural violet, natural orange, a yellow, a red and a brown. I'm not sure I'm going to use them all, but I've got them all here ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet my paper. And I'm going to put several layers of water over this because I want it to be really wet. I'm using £140 knot paper. This is a Bockingford paper. So I'm just going to put out some of the violet and the blue. This blue is very delicate and I love it. It's really granulating. So I'm just putting some out into my palette. So I'm using a mixture of the natural blue and the violet. Oh, gorgeous colour. Oh, this is nice. I like the way it's spreading. Doing a little more of my blue. Blue's quite a gentle colour. I'll turn this around as I go. Turning it around because that allows me to let the paint run in lots of different directions. Bringing some of this colour across. So I'm just playing around with this a little bit, putting the colour down. I'm using a damp brush to move it. So I'm just washing my brush and drying it off so I've got a damp brush. I want to make this a little darker down here. I love the way this blue granulates, it's beautiful. So I've got some blue, I've got the violet. I've also got some black. I just want to make something bits a little bit darker. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of that. Oh, that's rich. A little more dark here. Taking a smaller brush here, just moving this around. I kind of need this to dry off a bit now, so I'm just going to dry it with a hairdryer. Just layering this on really lightly. I'm going to clean my brush and dry it down. I just want to soften some of these edges. And I'm just going to drag through the water, through the damp paint, to create these crepuscular rays. I do love a crepuscular ray. Don't want it too stripy, so I'm trying to keep it light and gentle. And I do like just building these layers up. You can soften some edges. Okay, so I want to put something down on the sea, but I need it to run this way down, so I'm going to turn this around. So I've turned it around. Okay, so I've turned this around. Let's get some more of this blue out. There's not a huge amount of colours in this. I think I'm just going to end up using these three, maybe add some brown in as I come forward, but we'll see. So I've got a horizon line here, and I want the back part here to be quite love the way this is just running down. Okay, let's use some water spray to get that to move. Again, putting some more of the violet, and I am using a little bit of this black. I want it to be quite dark behind my boat. So I'm just continuing here to add my layers of the blues and the greys. I've got this natural blue, I've got a little bit of the violet in there, and I'm also occasionally picking up some of the lamp black. I'm bringing it across, brushing it across to give myself a bit of texture onto that water surface. I'll come back in, and I am going into my background now. I've got the violet and the black together, and I've diluted it slightly. I don't want it to be too dark at the back here. And I'm building the horizon and the distant town. This is Lowestoft South Beach where I'm sat here. And it was after an incredible cloud burst came through, and we had these amazing clouds and the sun coming through it, and a little bit of light hitting a couple of rooftops. It was fabulous. Just trying to get an approximation of the shape of the buildings on this horizon. There's not really very much detail required here. It's a suggestion, really. It's trying to create an atmosphere and a location. It's also giving a scale to that sky. Just changing to a bigger brush so I can cover the ground quicker. There's an area of some rocks in the water here, so I'm just going to be careful that I go around my concrete area. So that adds a nice change in colour and shape, that sort of stark shape, so I've just got to be careful going around that. I'll change back over to my small brush here so that I can put the detail of the groins into the painting. Nice fine little brush here. Getting quite lost in this, I'm quite enjoying this. I'm relatively new to working with these inks, so this is a bit of an experiment and trying out the new colours, and I think they're fantastic. Beautiful, delicate. I'll be doing a few other things with them over the next few weeks, so keep your eyes peeled and I will put some up here. Touch of a few reflections. So I'm just adding a bit of the orange into the black just to give me a slightly different colour here, slightly warmer, bring it forward a little bit. Adding a few extra darks in here as well. use some of the natural yellow here. And then a little bit of this yellow and brown, orange and a little bit of this orange and black mix. This is where I've got some of the masking along the edge of the water here for the foam, so I'm putting a bit of shadow colour underneath it to create the last little ripple waves coming into the beach here. Building up my darks because that will give me a better contrast, and putting a few ripples into the water. This is a bit of a distraction technique here at the minute because I want to put the ripples in, but I'm also waiting for the wall to dry so I can carry on with that. I'll put some of the natural brown on here. The colours I've added in here, I've got the orange, I've got some of the black, some of the natural brown and the violet. I'm using a combination of those colours here. I'm just putting the colour in, washing it down. This is kind of a scruffy wall really. Just old marks on the concrete. Love the way this runs. There's a bit more of the natural brown going on. Again, I've just given that a chance to dry and coming back in with some more detail now. changing my mind about which brush I want to use. I'm using the round brush, but I'm using the side of it. A nice amount of richness there now. And again, just giving it a chance to dry, and then I'm coming back in and taking off my masking fluid. Rubs off quite nicely. It adds a lovely little sparkle, particularly on the edge of that water. I love that. Now, sometimes masking fluid can be a bit harsh, so I'm coming back in here, refining the shape a little bit and making it not quite so outlined. This is just a couple of roofs that are being caught by that light as the sun's bursting through the clouds here. Again, this is just another couple of rooftops catching the light, so I want to make sure they're the right shape. So I've got a bit more of the natural blue in here, and I'm putting it along the edge of this foam. I want to give a bit of shape to it, but it's also increasing the shadow underneath it. Putting a little bit of work onto the boat again, just trying to make it look a little bit less like I've just removed masking fluid, so it's painting back into it to soften some of the edges and refine some of the shapes. And put a bit of shaping onto the sail itself. And there we have it. We are not all in the same boat. and I've been using the Colorex watercolours from Pebeo.